That past life push. If you've been getting that past life push, so maybe you're like, how the fuck do I know if I'm getting a past life push? So what I like to say with your past life kind of push is, if you're on your intuitive journey, your spiritual awakening journey, you're connecting to your spirit guides, you're on your deep healing journey, the deeper the more mindfuckery we let go of, the less our anxiety is in control of us, our panic, our depression. So the less that those have control, the more mental, spiritual, emotional, and energetic freedom we have. So then you can start to connect to your spirit guides way faster, way easier. So what I like to say is the fast, fun, and easy connection to your intuitive abilities is very, am I stuck? Am I stuck? That intuitive push, your connection to channel spirit rapidly. So, oh my God, are you going to work or are we going to be done? Okay. So that push that you get from spirit, the more mental freedom you have, the faster and easier. So when I ask spirit a question, it's instant. I already know. I either hear it, sense it, feel it, know it, see it. So they always bring it to me in a variety of ways. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm having a session with somebody or I'm mentoring somebody or you know, whether it's in my past life class, my membership calls, whatever it is, I'm talking to spirit and I'm talking to humans at the same time. So you have that conversation and you kind of have that. Once you build that ability, it gets very easy to do both. Now, I do have ADHD, so it is something that I've had to master. So now that I don't have constant anxiety and panic attacks, I do understand now that I have ADHD. So I do have to figure out, you know, I have had to figure out in how I've grown my intuitive gifts and abilities, how I channel spirit. I have had to find ways to stay on track with spirit with my ADHD. Let's say that, because since I can have a conversation with spirit and with humans at the same time. So, you know, it's just something that you master. And that's something that I work with people in private mentoring and in my membership and even individual sessions. Like, how do you start mastering, you know, your ability to connect to spirit in that way? So how do you, you know, master that ability so it's really easy to get information, insights, connection to your spirit guides, your spirit team, and have that, like, be able to still, whether you use your intuitive abilities as your business, whether you use your, hey Teresa, whether you use your intuitive abilities for yourself, you just help friends, whatever you do, you know, mastering that ability. So the less that you have fucking up your mind, your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and energetic self, the less mindfucker you have, the more mental freedom you have. So that is when you're really kind of start getting these past life pulls. So I have a past life program. I teach people how to access their past lives, their Akashic Records, how to clear, how to heal, how to bring forward the good stuff, clear the yucky stuff for themselves and their clients. Can everybody access their past lives? Yes. Is it easy for everybody? No. It does take time and energy, but what you might start recognizing, understanding, is if you're on your journey, your healing journey, if you're starting to feel calmer, you know, you have more mental freedom, physical, spiritual, emotional, energetic freedom in your body, your mind, and your soul, you might start recognizing, witnessing that you're getting these little past life, I call them past life glimpses. So you might just seeing little flashes, something that has happened to you. You're like, why does this keep happening? And you get a weird flash. You get like this feeling, this knowing. So you might start to get these past life glimpses. So what I call the glimpses are these just quick, rapid little things that spirit is kind of giving you this little sign, like, hey, you need to pay attention, because so if you're getting these past life flashes, you might get them in meditation. You might get them if you're just automatic writing, channeling spirit, asking those questions. You know, you might get them through dreams. You might get them through daydreaming, whatever it is. If you're reading a history book, if you watched, what was it, Outlander? I don't know if it's still on, but when I watched that show, like, I was in that place. I felt it. I knew I had been there before. So you might start getting those past life glimpses. So the less mindfuckery we have, the more spirit can bring us. It's quicker, faster, and easier to connect to spirit, to stay connected to spirit. And then you start recognizing, well, like, this isn't just a this life issue. So, okay, if it is a past life, then what do you do about it? Do we need to clear the cords of that past life? Do we need to do something different? Do we need to just recognize that past life? Maybe it was a gift or ability that you used, and sometimes just walking through that lifetime, witnessing that lifetime, seeing yourself, that having that power, that recognition, whatever you did, whether you were a scholar, a powerful healer, whatever it is, it will just light up your soul. It will activate your soul. Sometimes we have to intentionally reactivate things in your past lives. Spirit always tells me, if you need to do a little ceremony in there, or if it's just something that your soul is going to recognize. Now, just because your soul activates it doesn't mean that it's just going to take off and be this thing. You still have to do the work on your end. You still have to make sure you're connected to spirit, to yourself, to your mind, your body, your soul, your energetic self. So if you're on your healing and intuitive journey, you're learning these things, you're doing these things, but you feel it's sporadic, you feel it's up and down, you feel like you can channel spirit, but then you can't do this. You can do this, but you can't do this. So that's when you really got to figure out how to blend all of your gifts and abilities. You know, what parts are missing? What is really holding you back? What mental stuff, physical, spiritual, emotional, energetic stuff. So that's where you really got to start figuring out, you know, because what I see a lot of times, because I've been mentoring people for so long, is, you know, most people are not confident in their gifts and abilities. So even though they might be a very powerful healer, intuitive, medium, light worker, manifestor, starseed, you know, connecting to multidimensional beings, you know, it might come to you easily, but you don't trust the information. You don't want to tell people about it. You're afraid to say, you know, I did a live last week. I haven't gone live and talked about it. I've been getting stuff for 6 weeks for something really, really big, and it's earthly. It's not just, you know, a single thing. And I held off talking about it because it wasn't time. And even though it's very heavy and very dense, it wasn't the right time. And I always ask spirit, like, I feel like I need to talk about this, or like, no, not yet. So, you know, that is how quickly things with spirit goes with me. So, and it can be that way for you as well. So if you're building that, you're trying to integrate that, you're trying to figure that out. You got to figure out where in the mindfuckery loop, you know, what is missing, what is really preventing you from accepting your gifts and abilities, putting them out into the world. You know, I like to say it's the, spirit always shows it to me on a beach with a stick, and you're toe hopping, you're line hopping, you're jumping over, jumping back, jumping over, jumping back. So a lot of times they'll show me how far you're jumping forward, and you're making these big strides, you have big things happen, and then you fucking literally are just blasted back like a nuclear bomb. So, you know, and if you have things like that, you know, that is something we can work on in sessions. Private mentoring is where it will get you it'll get you to advance and connect your intuitive gifts and abilities in spirit rapidly. So I offer 6-month and 12-month private mentoring, but I do have a membership as well. So if you're not in the space where you can do you know, private just yet, or whatever it is, or if you want to do an individual session, you know, we can really narrow down like where are your loopholes, where are your problems. Even with a session, you walk away with kind of this homework plan. This is what you need to do, this is where you're at, this is, you know, and things like that. So, you know, I help you, guide you, mentor you, clear you, you know, if we need to heal, clear, whatever, we bring that stuff forward, we clear, but then it's also your work, your responsibility to do the work. So if you're trying to figure out where those loopholes are, you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to understand, you think you're getting these past life glimpses, just sit with it, just ask spirit. However you connect to spirit every day intentionally, especially if you're newer on your journey, you need to intentionally connect to spirit every single day. I always did it at late at night, because I'm a late night person, so I would like channel automatic write for hours. But you got to do what works for you. If it's a break, if it's early morning, whatever it is. But you need to connect to spirit every day. Is this a past life thing? What do I need to do about it? Do I need to work with Aaron to help me figure it out? Do I need to work in my past lives? Do I just need a session? Do I need mentoring? You know, is Aaron the right person? I might not be the right person. I'm not for everybody. But start asking spirit those things. Is it time for me to start working in? Ooh, my hand that's different. Spirit my guides always touch me in a certain spot, but I've been having some nerve damage on my arm lately, so it's been a little different. I'm getting a new tingle. So if you're in that space and you're trying to figure it out, ask those questions. Ask spirit, like, am I supposed to be working in my past lives? Am I supposed to clear my own past lives? You know, are you showing me past lives? Is this a past life problem? You know, just really start asking spirit. And that can be for anything. Like, why am I holding on to this? Why was I triggered by this? What is my responsibility in this? You know, and when I work with people privately, I kind of have this process that we go through. And I never sugarcoat things, but I'm also not mean about it either. But the reality is, you know, you need to be kind of called out on your shit, where you're at, what you're doing, what you say you're doing versus what you tell me that you're doing, what you tell spirit that you're doing. Spirit always fucking knows. You can't fool spirit. So if you have questions on that, if you're curious about past lives, hey Rachel, if you're curious, you know, is this past life are these past life things? Where are my gaps? What am I missing? I want to have a spiritual business, intuitive business. If it's fear, doubt, worry, all of those things are in there. Even as a business owner, I've had my marketing and graphic design business for, I don't even know, 13, 14 years. I've had my spiritual business for 6.5 years. Having a business is never an easy thing. You have to be on social media. You have to be out there. You have to promote yourself. You have to do all the things. You still have to learn. You still have to do all of your life stuff, and none of that stuff is easy. But, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Why do you want to access your past lives, connect to spirit, do healing work? Because I was able to heal myself, anxiety, panic, depression, those things, weight, all of those things that come with that, I was able to completely transform my life, my mind, my body, my soul, my energetic self, and healing is a lifelong journey, but I'm no longer plagued by my life as it was. I hated my fucking life, hated it a lot. So having that total shift. Now I have mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and energetic freedom. I don't have to constantly think and overthink and have panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I don't know how many a day I would have, but your mind is so consumed with all of the what ifs and the anxiety that you don't get to live. Now I get to live each day. Each day is each day. But the more, you just got to figure out what are your goals? What do you want to be doing? Why do you want to connect to spirit? Why do you want to be a medium, to an intuitive, a channeler, psychic, whatever it is you call yourself? Why do you want to do those things? And, how am I to get there? Like, what am I missing, spirit? And sometimes we ask that question to spirit a bazillion times and we still don't get the answer. So sometimes it does benefit us to go to another person. So somebody like me, if it's not me that calls to you, that's totally okay. If you're like, Erin, you're too much for me, I can recommend other people for you. If you're like, Erin, you're exactly who that I fucking need, that's even better. But I have individual soul alchemy sessions. Like I said, I have private mentoring. I do limit my private mentoring, depending on what people sign up for. 6 months, 12 months, meet every week, meet every other week. But then you also have access to me every single day through Telegram. And then I do have my membership as well. So those are a few ways that I can help you in that process. But if you're curious, you have questions, you're trying to figure those things out, don't hesitate. Through the end of, I think I have it through the end of this week for my birthday. I do have my soul alchemy session is discounted. And if you want to do private mentoring, you do have to have a call with me first. You do have to sign up for 6 months or 12 months. 12 months is the best, but it's up to you. But I am offering that birthday special. If you sign that contract, I think it's by this coming Sunday, then, what is it, the 26th, then, depending on if you sign up for 6 months or 12 months, you get a month free or 2 months free. If you sign up for the year, you get 2 months free. If you sign up for the 6 month mentoring, then you get 1 month out of the 6 months free. But if you want, you can ask for that link below. I can DM you. I can put it down below. Hey, Jennifer. But I will, if you guys have questions, if you're curious about past lives, if you're just curious about what am I missing in my intuitive journey? Why can't I connect to spirit? Why isn't it stronger? Why is it harder? Why am I always mind fucking myself? Why, I feel like I get these messages from spirit, but then I'm afraid to tell people about them, or I don't feel confident in, whatever it is, we got to figure out what your gaps are. Why? Usually I know really quickly when I work with people what those gaps are. It's very easy for me to pinpoint them, and we lay out a plan for you, but it's up to you to follow through with that plan. So, I can guide you, help you, clear you, this life, past life, realms and timelines in between, mentor, all of those things. But in the end, you're the one that has to do the, the continued work. So, but that is something that I see a lot. I've been mentoring people for a lot of years now in their spiritual space. And that's what I notice a lot is it's confidence. It comes down to a lot of confidence, self-confidence. And that's a human thing. It's a human thing. There's still some days where I still doubt myself, but the difference is now is that I don't let that doubt be the winner. I've been creating new pendulums. I put like 20 some new pendulums on Etsy this weekend. So I've been having a really big call for creativity. So I actually made a pendulum holder. I've been making things out of wood. I've been making a lot of new pendulums. So if you're curious about that, some wall hangings, pendulums, different things like that. But if you guys are curious, let me know. If you want the link, let me know. If you're like, oh my God, is that what's happening? Just ask spirit, before you go into the dream state, have that intention, have one intention before you go into your dream state. Is this a past life thing? Show me that past life, for my highest and best good. What am I supposed to do with it when I witness it? Help me remember it when I wake up, whatever it is. Before you channel automatic right, just ask that question. Is this a past life thing? Show me something about it. But the one thing I want to tell you is if you're going to go and do that, make sure that you are safe and protected. Don't open yourself up and allow things to come back with you. Let's say it like that. If you are curious about, I do have a free access, a past life channeling, meditation, whatever. I don't really know what I call them. More like journeys, shamanic journeys. But I do have access. I do have a free one if you are curious about that. And I don't know. I'm probably going to have an Akashic past life program starting again in February. I don't like to do them over the holidays because people are just too busy, and it does take time and energy on your end to, to put into it. So let me know. You guys have a great Monday. Hopefully in Iowa here, it's so fucking cold. They didn't have school today. So threw me off of my routine, but, here's my alien shirt. Just here for the pizza. No, you can never go wrong with just for the pizza. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you are having those past life flashes, intuitive flashes, connection to spirit, and don't freeze your ass off. I'll talk to you later, beautiful souls.